I'm Ben Bies.
And I'm Carly Bies. We've been married for 12 years and together for 15 and have 2 boys.
This is our story of a controlling church and spiritual abuse and how it shook our relationship and clouded our view of God.
Our desire is that our honest view of pain and trauma in relationships can provide hope and the courage to hold on when life does not turn out as planned,
while also providing a dash of humor and loving banter.
We are still working to find wholeness, and we welcome you on our journey. Welcome back. Thank you for enduring the businesses episode. You know, that was a little brutal to sit through.
Yeah, although I do have a business that Carly said was not a good business that I still think would have been a good business.
That you forgot about?
Well,
that we forgot to mention?
Yeah, and I wanted to bring this up because I feel cheated for it. But
okay.
When we were first married, I had an idea for a restaurant. And it was a restaurant where you could eat and also bring your dog in a little fence around the table, and we would feed them gourmet dog food and have you eat food, and it'd be just a great thing for dog owners. Best part about it was the name, and the name was Dog Pound Cake. Dog Pound Cake, and no one supported me, including Carly. I thought it was
it did seem like a very crazy idea at that time, and you were just really, really proud of the name. Yeah. Most of all, the name Dog Pound Cake. And I'll never forget that when we were watching the news that one day, and there was a new restaurant, Manhattan Beach, where you bring your dogs and they eat with you. And now it seems like it's everywhere. Like there's like always something for dogs wherever we go to eat. But once again, you were ahead of the time.
Way ahead of the time.
You had a vision. You didn't run with it.
Just didn't run with the vision. Didn't make the vision plain. The people perished. So
bummer. We could have been millionaires right now.
Millionaires.
Gosh.
Back to the businesses. You guys all know those were very successful, as we talked about. But there was a time when we had started those businesses and we still felt like we needed just a little bit of capital to continue making those things work. So we looked through all the means we could, and we tried to get loans, and I can't tell how many small business meetings I went to and how many loans we tried to get. And for some reason, people just didn't want to give us loans for our businesses. I don't know why. So in the midst of that, we talked about it before, every Saturday night, the men of the church would get together and we'd pray before service, and we'd usually get there at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and we'd pray till sometimes a whole night, sometimes 3 or 4 in the morning. But this particular time we were praying, and really, really praying that God would give us some idea on how to bring in money.
Wasn't that what we were always praying anyways?
I don't know. This was one of those breakthrough prayers.
This prayer was different.
Must have been using the priestly garments to run around. And
you had the prayer cloth over you as you were praying
exactly,
this.
Yes, this
which
is what happened.
why we got this revelation that we're going to tell you about in this episode.
But, and I'll never forget, I thought, well, someone should go on a game show. And then I thought, what is the easiest game show around to make money? And they had just come out, I think it was only a year old.
I don't even know.
With Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? And I thought, you know what? I can do this. This is my wheelhouse. Stupid information that no one remembers.
It's true.
Is my wheelhouse.
Yes.
And we left that prayer session, and I don't know if at the time I thought, oh, this is really going to happen, but I looked it up, and
yeah, you started doing like a lot of research on different game shows, but that one was a newer one, and yeah, it seemed to fit you perfectly because you're smart and useless information comes easy to you and you remember, and you found out that it was actually, the time that it was filming was local to us, and so you started going through the process of finding out everything that entailed to apply, and just, it was like a very lengthy process, but you started it.
Yep. And I applied, and I think I got an automatic response or something that said, thank you for your application. And I figured, well, I tried. And I really put my all into the effort into that application process. I mean, honestly, I could read it to you, but I won't. DM me if you want to hear it. But I got a call like a week later to say that they were holding auditions for it. And I remember Carly had a different job at the time with her social work degree, and I called her and I was like, hey, I think I got a call back for an audition, but they probably call everyone. I don't think I'm going to go.
No, you were going to be, weren't you going
No,
to
that was for the.
Okay, the next time. Okay. Yes, yeah. He called me kind of like,
can I be pulled away for this long to go to an audition? I think that's what the question was.
yeah, not thinking it was going to be of much importance and thinking like, kind of maybe like you were more important than what you were doing for the other businesses and stuff was maybe more important than like being pulled away for this audition
I couldn't miss this much time.
Yeah, but it's like what you said you had been praying for in terms of like, assistance in something. And so here you're being called for like an audition, but yeah. So what did I say to you? Like,
you're like, you better
are
go.
You crazy?
I can't remember.
Like, go. Because it was in Manhattan Beach, which was not far from where we were living. And everything like just kind of lined up because the show I think was kind of shows are kind of like all over the place in terms of where they do their recordings, but this one happened to be at the studios in Manhattan Beach.
Yeah, which, really close.
Yeah, just like within miles from where we were living. Don't be deceived. We didn't live in Manhattan Beach, but it was a close by neighboring city. So I don't want you to get the picture that we're
we were hoity-toity.
Yeah, no. But yes, I basically said, you're crazy. If you don't go, you are going.
Yeah, so I went to, they were doing an audition at a hotel, and I figured I'd go in there and see like 200 people there. And I walked in, and they said, yeah, go up to this room, and you go up to this room, and they had me sit down. And there was maybe 5 people at the time, but I could tell it was a rotating thing where a lot of people were coming in during the day. And we had to do a personality test, had to do a questionnaire. I mean, I was filling out paperwork for probably 2 hours, and then they called me to come into a room to do an on-camera interview. And I remember walking out of there thinking, I nailed that. I think the last question was, why would you be a good contestant? And I think I said, why wouldn't I be a good contestant?
Oh my gosh. But you kind of, like your whole persona was that you were a youth pastor for a church and your passion was for the youth. And even though your vision for the basketball hoop and all of that was basically crapped upon, it was still who you were and what you wanted and your passion and stuff. So that was your that was who you were and who you're painting yourself to be for this interview. And
exactly. So not just my persona, it was actually me.
Yes,
It wasn't like a lie.
No. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean it that way.
Made me feel like I had a double life or something. This is who I want. I guess so. So got done with the interview, and the whole point was, look, I work with 5th graders, I work with kids, I work with young people. I want to use the money to help the church and the community. Let me be on. And I remember walking out of the audition, and they said, we've got a backlog of people. We'll call you in the next 5 or 6 months if we want you to be on. And I thought, okay, well, it's kind of disappointing.
Isn't it 5 to 6 weeks?
No, it was longer than that.
Okay.
It was a while, and I thought, this is kind of disappointing, but I get it. Just have faith that somehow this is going to work out.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, okay, well, life goes on, so we'll just...
Yeah. So then I got a call less than a week later. I think it was like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, it was it was literally just a couple days.
And they called me and they said, hey, what are you doing? I think it was a Thursday or something.
Yeah, called
Thursday, Friday. Hey, what are you doing next Thursday? We want you to come in. No, I think they asked, what are you doing next Thursday? And I said, I was supposed to be going up to San Francisco with our pastor for something, one of his mental retreats to clear his mind from all the businesses that were going wrong because somehow Satan was attacking the businesses.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember telling him, well, I'm supposed to be like in San Francisco. And they said, well, we want you to be on the show. And I said, well, I mean, I could probably adjust my schedule.
Oh my gosh, like you were so important.
So yeah, I got called to be on the show.
Yeah.
And then what were some other details when they called?
Yeah, so the air date was like just a couple days after they called you, or not the air date, excuse me, the recording.
The recording,
yeah. And you were told, like, so there's 3 other contestants that were recorded with you that day, or excuse me, there was 3 of you total.
I think there was 3. There was
3 of you total, and depending on how long the first or second contestant went would depend on if the third person would actually have time to be recorded for that like hour segment. So they could actually be like bumped off the show. So
yeah, so I could be called in and not actually be on the show.
Right, yeah. So you were actually recorded first, which was incredible because you would be guaranteed to be aired because you only got your winnings if you were to win anything if the show actually aired.
Exactly.
So each contestant had 3 people they could bring, but they allowed you to have 10 people. They wanted you to bring several people, some diverse church members and some of the youth from the church that we were, just all going to church together, and so they wanted just 10 different people in the audience supporting you, where everyone else only had 3. So we thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Everyone had like their own little trailer, but you were given like this huge room with like sandwiches and drinks and like just a whole
smorgasbord.
Incredible spread of stuff. It was like really specific on what we had to wear and just like a lot of details like that. And it was really exciting. It was really exciting. And those were some of the details I remembered from it that
you actually wrote down.
Yes, that I did write down back then when it happened. This was 2007.
And Carly just pulled out the handwritten notes.
I did, yes. I have them saved.
I don't know why I was surprised about that.
I know. Why does that surprise you?
I don't know.
I'm surprised I actually had to write it down because I have an incredible memory. But, but yeah, we talked about how it just felt like you had so much favor on you that day, and I kind of hate that word because it was like so overused, but that's really how it felt and what it was. You just were like so charismatic on camera, and everybody like loved you. You were just like a really easy contestant to love. Like the crowd loved you, and it was kind of like the perfect story. Like inner city pastor, like has gone to Africa during college, and has a desire to reach the youth, and just like all of these like wonderful things that like people couldn't help but like love you for. Yeah. So it was just
very
a really
lovable, loved by everyone except maybe my wife.
So it was a really cool experience, and Jeff Foxworthy was the host, and he's a Christian, and so you guys would talk just off, like on commercial break, like about each other's experiences. Like he had gone to Africa.
Yeah, he had just the year before gone with his daughter to Africa, and I remember specifically the conversation I had with him, and he said, "Isn't it just so amazing that you can go to a place and all they need is Jesus, and their faith is so much different because they don't have everything else?" And I'm having these conversations at commercial break, and I'm like, this is amazing. This is such a cool...
I think too, like TV, especially nowadays, it feels like they really try to downplay any sort of spiritual just part of someone's life, but they like really played up the fact that you were a pastor, and they even called you Pastor Ben. Jeff called you Pastor Ben the whole time.
Don't ever call me that, anyone.
And it was like just really celebrated that you were like a pastor in the church, and that was like very important part of who you were as a contestant, which was really cool.
Yeah. And I lost everything, didn't win anything.
Not true.
Not true. We were on the show. We did win money, and there's a weird, crazy story that I don't feel like I unpacked it finally until we were all done. But I was doing pretty good. A kid saved me on a dumb question I should have known. I just didn't remember it, and he did a great job with it. And then another kid saved me when they asked me what an anemometer was, which was measures
Anemometer,
wind.
yeah.
What does it measure? And I had no idea, and the kid saved me. And I finally got to the last question, and I at that point had got to the question that I won $300,000. My next question, I had two more questions to get to $1 million. One was to get to 500,000, and the next one was to get to $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
And what they asked me was, and this was to get to 500,000, who was the Greek god of wine? And I know it sounds like crazy, but I remember specifically sitting there and just praying, like, I have no idea. I have no idea. And there was a question earlier about the presidency that I forgot to tell you how I studied.
What was
for
your
this.
Yeah? Tell us about your studying method.
Sorry,
for
we'll
this.
get back
Once
to
you were-
the Greek god of wine.
Once you were actually chosen to be on the show.
Once I was chosen, I took some time off the business for 3 days.
He
I went to Barnes and Noble.
he overdrafted our account to purchase.
I didn't purchase anything. I went to Barnes and Noble and I would sit there for like 8 hours and read like 4th and 5th grade textbooks.
And
like
the Brain Quest, the Brain Quest little question
The Brain
things.
Quest questions, I
Remember
read
those?
through all of those over and over and over again.
For
And-
like every grade up to 5th
And
grade.
one of the questions I learned from, and I was taking notes. I literally was taking notes from
You're
1st
so
through 5th grade.
annoying.
Like, all right, I want to take notes. So one of the questions I learned from Brain Quest.
Yeah.
And I knew the answer. And Jeff Foxworthy at the point was like, "Are you sure you want this?" And I looked over, and everyone in the audience was like, "No, that's wrong." And I was like,
I
sure.
for sure thought you were wrong. I'm like, oh my gosh, you saw
Yeah.
what was it? It was something
Andrew
about
Jackson,
Andrew Jackson,
and you thought it was Andrew Johnson. Everyone thought it was, and I just knew it because I had studied it. I'm like,
Yeah, you
I
were
know
so.
that
I remember
I'm
you
so
were
sure.
so sure when
So
you
sure.
responded with it, and I was like, "We're going home." And it was like the second question. I'm like, "You idiot! We're going home. You're supposed to be smart, and you just lost all of this for us."
But no, Brain Quest, thank you.
Yes.
I will be your sponsor if you want it. But it totally worked. Sorry. Back to the Greek god of wine.
And Jeff even had said like, I'm talking about Jeff like he's my best dude, but, like me and Jeff, like we go way back to like, are you smarter than the 5th grader? He even talked to me personally, but I remember him giving you a hard time like, oh, if you know what the Greek god of wine is, then are you really a good pastor?
Yeah.
Like it was kind of like a funny joke, but anyways, go ahead.
So I didn't know what the answer was. I didn't. And I remember praying and saying, God, I'm gonna walk away with $300,000. Just help me out. I don't know it. If you want me to win more, whatever that means, just show me the answer. And I sat there for a little while. I just didn't know it, so I said, okay, I'm done. Literally said I'm done. I didn't
'cause
know
you
it.
could
I
walk
wasn't going to
away
guess.
with what
I
you
already
had
used all
earned.
3 of my saves or whatever it was. And I promise you, with everything inside of me, the minute I said I'm done, and I had to say I'm not smarter than a 5th grader, I knew the answer. It like dropped in my mind, and I knew it. And we went to commercial break, and I looked at Jeff Foxworthy. I said, "Is it Dionysius?" And he goes, "Whoa, wait, what? You got to say that when the camera comes back on." And he said, "If you had one guess, what would it be?" I said, "Dionysius." And all the kids looked at me and laughed like, "Oh, that's not it." And he's like, "That would have been the correct answer." And it sounds so crazy. Like, why would that?
That was like really hard for us to like understand why God would give you that answer like a second
right.
after.
And
like,
I really,
you prayed
I
to-
really do believe, even though a lot of other stuff in our life was crazy at that point, I really believe that like he did that, and it made me think what happened, but it also made me think, okay, God, you are in control.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when I look back at it now, I really do believe it was God saying, "Look, I'm still in control. I can do anything,
Mm-hmm.
but this is where it needs to end." And I'm thankful for that, because I
Yeah.
think if it would have been more than that, it would have made our life even worse.
Yeah, had you won more money, it would have been a lot harder to get out of what we were trying to get out of eventually. Yeah. But that wasn't something that clicked for many,
No.
many years. It was kind of like, oh, like bummer. But yeah, you ended up winning $300,000,
I did.
which was pretty awesome.
It was pretty. If anyone has ever gotten a check for a lot of money, you know how it feels. But we did have a choice. So if you want $300,000, you can choose to get 6 payments of $50,000 every year. So for 6 years, you get a payment of $50,000. Now,
or you get it all
if we
upfront.
were smart, and we actually wanted to have money to live on every year, that's maybe what we would have done.
Yeah.
But the other choice is you get it all up front, but you get less money. So I think the final total was $253,000 or something like that. So you lose about $50,000, but you get it all up front. It's a one lump payment. They don't take taxes out. You have to calculate your own taxes. And for us, it was a no-brainer because we thought we got on the show to help the church and to give it money. There's no way we're going to take it over 6 years. We're going to take it in one lump sum.
But years later, boy, did we wish we did that. 6 payments.
6 years later, when we had no money, we thought
6 years.
You know what?
More
That's
like 12 months later.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
But yeah, we took the one lump payment. Now, here's the other thing you have to realize. We filmed that in the spring, in April.
Yeah.
It did not air until
September.
And you don't get paid until it airs.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know for this whole time, like, I've got a check coming to me. It's going to be really big, but I'm not going to get it till September, and then it takes like a couple weeks after that. So you're looking at almost October.
But we didn't even know when we were going to get it. We were just waiting for like previews every single week. Like next week,
Yeah, they
on
didn't
Are You
tell
Smarter
us.
Than
Exactly,
Fifth Grader?
they didn't tell us. I
Next
forgot
week on
about
Are You
that.
Smarter Than Fifth Grader?
We're like,
And we
"Oh,
would just
please."
be like every single week. But the fun part was that when it finally did, I guess we did know. I guess we knew like a week ahead.
Yeah.
Because they would say like next week on. And we were in Colorado for it, but like I remember my whole family had like a huge, because we had to sign papers of like,
Non-disclosure
yeah,
agreement.
we couldn't tell anybody what we won. So everybody knew we were on the show, but nobody knew how much we won.
Yeah.
So that was really hard to keep that a secret, but we had to sign that like confidentiality stuff
Yeah.
that we couldn't share that information. And the people that were there on the show with us knew, and they all had to sign the same paper. So that was really hard to like not tell our families like how much we won
Yeah.
and how everything went, and just kind of like, so did it go well,
Yeah.
or did it not? But my family had like a huge viewing
Yeah, they
party and had a ton of people over and ordered
Yep.
pizza to like watch it, and I'm sure it was so fun for everybody to watch it live, not
Yeah.
knowing what we were actually winning. Because I think some people probably thought like, oh, they probably won like 25 grand and thought that was a lot, like thought that, oh, well, 25 grand to Carly and Ben was like a lot of money,
Yeah.
but 300,000
Yo,
suckers.
What up? And that when it aired, I was actually doing the wedding of my
Your cousin.
cousin. So we didn't actually see it live,
Yeah.
which was totally fine because it was an incredible wedding. And there's one detail I forgot to tell everybody about the day of the show taping. You would think our pastor, being a narcissist and thinking he's the best, would want to be there in the studio audience, so maybe get on TV. He didn't. I think the attention wasn't on him, so he didn't want to be. So he wasn't one of our 10 guests. And in fact, he went to San Francisco like he said he was going to. And right after the show, literally after the show, we went and got dinner. Me and Carly and 2 of our friends went and got dinner. Our friends had to pay for dinner because we had no money.
Which they didn't have money either, but
Yeah,
I think
they had
they
a
had
little
like
more.
$50 more
Yeah.
than we did. So
Went to a
Brazilian.
Cuban restaurant.
Oh, Cuban, yeah.
Cuban restaurant. And then got in a car and drove to San Francisco.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I forgot. I hate that.
So we didn't even like celebrate, and the head pastor didn't even call me to really ask. It was
No,
like
because
such
it wasn't about
it wasn't
him.
about
like
him.
he was
like,
such a meanie about it.
yeah, meanie, exactly the word I was thinking.
I was gonna say a lot worse word, but trying to keep it family friendly. here.
Yes. So we got the money, and the time between when we filmed it and when it aired was when the businesses really started to ramp up because we knew we've got money coming in. Okay.
Off the chain was
So,
off the chain.
Off the hizzy for shizzy. So we knew we had money coming in. So like we had people taking out loans, we had people taking out extra credit cards, we took out extra credit cards because we knew there was going to be money, and we had basically pledged the money to the church. So this is when we went to Washington D.C. on credit cards and on loans, like these, the crazy like shark loans that you get like 34% interest on, all this.
Gosh, just so many poor decisions.
So that's when we were in Washington, D.C. I hadn't got the check yet. And
that's when
I knew when the money was coming in, but we had to overdraw like we said last time.
Was that the caucus?
Yeah. Okay. And then the money finally came in, and this is... I think I have a picture of the bank stub.
No, we still have the stub.
We still have it. We'll put it on the Facebook so you know that this isn't a lie.
I don't think everything's a lie.
Right, but I went to cash the check at Chase because that's where we were banking, and we were overdrawn a couple $100. So on the thing you see like
ABC Studios or
no, on the actual like receipt it says deposit $253,000, current balance -200. Available balance -200, and I went to like 3 banks because they basically said, and at this point we were banking on this money, and I think it basically was like we need money today or we're literally going to go bankrupt.
Yeah,
like there's not a choice right now, and I went to 3 banks because all of them said, look, you're overdrawn. It's going to take 10 days to get your money. And at that time, 10 days, I'm telling you, 10 days might as well been 20 years. So I went to 3 banks saying, just trying to get a deal. I'm like, look, this says it's from Fox Studios. This check is from Fox Studios. Do you think I'm making this up? Please, just at least give us $1,000. Please. And no one would. So it was like the worst 10 days of our life, just thinking... I don't know how we're going to survive for 10 days, and then all of a sudden we're going to have $250,000.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. So crazy.
So what do you do with $250,000?
Well, I'm sure you have a lot of ideas.
A lot.
But
yes,
we didn't do any of those.
Well, and after the fact, we came to realize that this was a big red flag for our families, which it probably would be for any family.
Yeah.
But for our families, I guess it really was that they all thought, wow, you have enough money for a down payment for a house and to even buy a house straight up at that time.
Yeah.
You could buy a house cash, period. It's done. You have a house. Mm-hmm. You could get a
knew
car
we were
with our, instead of the Honda Civic that only one door worked and the windows didn't go up,
Yeah, like there were so many things that there were so many needs that we had that was like obvious to our family, even if they didn't know a lot of detail. So the fact that we didn't use that money for anything for ourselves really was like that was a big red flag to them. We didn't realize that at the time, and they expressed some concern, but I think that, again, like we talked about in our Q&A episode, they knew how much they could press and couldn't press too much in this.
Yeah, exactly.
This area.
Exactly. So we did do a few things for ourselves. We needed a refrigerator.
Well, we moved. We were moving to another place.
Yeah.
To a bigger place in a worse area. So it was cheaper. Not cheaper than what we were paying, but pretty comparable because our rent kept going up like every 6 months.
Yeah.
So we needed a refrigerator.
But it was like a house, sort of like a duplex, a front house of a duplex, had a front yard. I mean, we thought it was great at the time.
Sure.
You were the one who found it. It had blue carpet.
Yes, it had navy blue carpet. Yes, it was a great place for us. Looking back makes me want to barf, but it was a great place. It was, like a house and 2 bedrooms, and we had like a lot of vision for like what we wanted that second bedroom to be, like an office for you to be able to do work at home. How optimistic of me.
How optimistic.
To have you at home doing some work.
Yeah. So we moved, and
silly me,
and we needed a refrigerator. So what we did is we went to Home Depot and got like no, we didn't actually. what happened is, even at this point,
I still feel anger towards you about
yeah,
this.
she does. But we bought a new refrigerator when we needed one after this one broke. After I tried to fix it 5 times and it broke for the 5th time, but we
You're
went
not
to.
making sense. You got to tell me what
Yeah,
did
I'm
you
sorry.
buy?
Yeah, we bought a refrigerator, but it was from a guy in Hawthorne who had basically this room with a bunch of refrigerators.
No, it was a refurbished refrigerator that we bought for.
I don't. Okay, first of all,
few $100.
I don't know if it was refurbished.
Ben,
we bought
it was absolutely refurbished.
Carly, saying that it's refurbished is giving it too much credit.
Okay,
That's what I'm trying to
okay.
tell you.
It was a used refrigerator that we got for a couple $100.
But it was like it was $400. But we had to pay cash.
so sketchy.
So if you have to pay someone cash, you usually know that that's not on the up and up,
Right.
as we would say.
But it was stainless steel.
Yes.
We were very excited about it. But let's just paint the picture of we just won $250,000 and you spent no more than $400 on a used refrigerator. Like this, I just wanted to paint the picture of what life was like.
Yeah, paint it. Whatever.
It's painted.
The picture. It was a great refrigerator for us.
It was.
I
yeah.
learned to fix it.
It
Personally.
was a side by side doors because
Yeah.
that's what I like.
Yep. I
And
got
so I
Carly
did-
exactly what she
I
wanted.
did appreciate that it was a side by side door refrigerator because I don't like the top to bottom refrigerator. Those just ugh. But I appreciated that. And I wasn't mad at you at the time for getting like
No, we didn't even think about it.
No,
we
we
just
didn't
thought,
even talk about it. You just got it.
We're buying a refrigerator and it's stainless steel.
We didn't even talk
woody,
about it because
woody.
we didn't discuss things. Like it was something we needed, so you just went and got it. But I remember as time went on, it was like, gosh, we have all this money. Like I don't know. Let's do something nice for ourselves.
Well,
you
we
know?
did. We got a couch.
Oh my gosh. Still, let me continue to paint this picture. We
got
went
a
to
couch.
a wholesale couch place. It's like the kind of place that's like living spaces, but way worse and no longer in business. But that's same sort of concept where, we paid less than, we paid $800
Yeah.
for a couch. It ended up being
was a
so
sectional.
awesome.
Very comfortable.
Incredible sectional that
Stainless.
we had forever. Stainless.
Like it wouldn't be stained. It had stain guard. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Scotch Guard.
Scotch guard, yes. Scotch guard.
Yes, it ended up being a great couch.
I almost cried when we got rid of it because it was so comfortable.
It went through a lot of hard years with us. It's been a faithful couch. But yeah, what else did we get? We got that. But instead of going to Pottery Barn or somewhere got a nice
Okay,
couch. We
Pottery
just also
Barn.
didn't have our nice tastes were being sucked out of us while attending the church, I feel like.
Yeah.
So I think maybe a part of, maybe me personally, I'll speak for myself, felt bad having a desire or even liking things like nice things
Yeah.
because not a lot of people in our church had nice things. So for us to spend a lot of money on something like a couch, when I would say most people got something from Salvation Army, we compromised by a living spaces situation. But
Yeah.
would I have loved a Pottery Barn situation? Of course. But it also just wasn't really on our minds. Looking back now, it's like, oh my gosh.
We also, I had made a decision. We're going to go on a shopping. I'm going to go on a shopping spree personally.
Oh, Kangol hat.
The Kangol hat, the famous Kangol hat, bro. We went to Nordstrom's. So at least we had a little bit of taste. Went to Nordstrom's and I wanted to get some nice jeans which I've wanted to buy nice jeans my whole life. I've never bought them because they never fit my legs. So
Yeah, because you got big legs.
yeah, I got big legs. But went to Nordstrom's and went through everything and I just couldn't bring myself to spend money.
Yeah.
Except on the Kangol hat.
Thank goodness.
And it was a Kangol hat.
Is that how it's pronounced? Kangol? Kangol. I feel like you're pronouncing it weird.
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know. Anyways, that hat, oh my gosh. You loved that hat for
I
years and years and
loved
years.
it.
And
I
he's-
still do.
I know you still do it. You don't
One-
wear it though, but
I wish I could, but
you really
get
don't wish you
shamed.
could wear it. But I'm trying to think, what else did we buy?
that was it.
We were able to we were able to put a first and last month's rent on our new place.
Yeah.
So
We
that was
also-
really huge
We were fortunate
in terms
to have
for
some,
things for ourselves.
Yeah,
Yes.
to have some people around us who had some wisdom, who hooked us up with a financial person who told us how much we had to put aside for taxes, because with that check they don't take taxes out of it. And I was smart enough to know at that point,
Thank goodness. Yeah.
if we don't put this aside, we
It's
will
gonna
not
be
be able
gone.
to pay taxes, and we'll owe like 30, 40 grand
Yeah.
and not have anything to pay it with. So we actually put that in a 6-month CD and got some, investment money on it, which
Yeah.
was very fortunate to some people around us who were wise with that stuff.
Yeah.
But other than that,
That was about it that we had purchased for ourselves. But
And we
the
paid off
biggest
our
thing,
debt.
yeah, the biggest thing was that we were able to pay off our debt, which was a lot
a
of debt
lot
at
of
that
credit
point.
card debt. From the businesses.
That really had nothing
and
to
from
show
just
for.
living.
Yeah, like that was how we were living because you weren't getting paid, and I had a full-time job, not this whole time, but because I was still in school for part of it. But once I did have a full-time job, that was really our only income. But we were also giving away so much money, like
Yeah.
on a tithes and offering basis. So we had a lot of debt starting all of these businesses, living.
And for some reason, of course, we were the ones who would take out credit cards for it. So,
Versus our pastor.
well, yeah.
Yeah. He probably had no more credit to his name.
Yeah, he
and
had a
couldn't.
J.C. Penney credit card that he thought was cool.
Oh my gosh, you always talk about this. Ben's favorite joke is about a J.C. Penney card. J.C. Penney, which is that
Well,
still even around?
No, it's still around, but the funny part is I remember being at his house and he was like, those mailings you get that said, "You've been pre-approved for $1,000 credit card." Like one time he got pre-approved. He's like, "Oh, look at this. Like, look how big of a baller I am. I got a pre-approved for $1,000 J.C. Penney card."
And it was like $500, but yeah, anyways.
And
I
then
don't even think they're still around.
no, and then other than that, we
But
had a great a lot of people in the church besides
Yeah.
us had put in a lot of money into the businesses,
Yeah.
knowing that we were going to get paid, and we had promised to pay all their debt off. So we paid a lot of people's debt off.
Yeah, which was a really good feeling.
was awesome. It was a great
to be able
feeling.
to do that.
We gave a lot of money to different people too, and I remember just sending some money to some of my family members that didn't need it, just because I thought I just want to send them some money because we have money, and it was, I think, for us, even I don't even like talking about the money we gave away, because for us it was totally what we wanted to do. It
Yeah,
was
absolutely.
it
It
was
wasn't
to
a hard
God.
decision,
It was,
yeah.
it was why I went on the show. That's just what we did.
Yeah, it wasn't a hard decision at all. Our
Which is
families weren't
crazy.
excited
Yeah.
about it. But I really do, out of everything that we've gone through, and like obviously our story like continues on and gets much worse, believe it or not, but of everything we've experienced, I really don't have regrets on what we did with that money, because
Yeah, I
I
don't
really
either.
do feel like we gave it to God,
Yeah.
and whether or not it was like the best decision or right decision on how we, whatever, or how it was dealt with or how it was like abused from there, like we gave it to God, and that was that.
Yeah.
And I feel peace about that.
Totally.
And I'm thankful, because there could be a lot of regret and a lot of like turmoil just thinking about like what happened with all that money.
Yeah. And we did give a chunk of the money to our pastor.
Yeah. Quite a big
And
chunk.
by chunk, I think from what I remember was like $20,000.
I think it was more than that.
No, it was 20 to
Okay.
begin with. Yeah. And I wrote him a check for $20,000. I gave it to our associate pastor, and I said, "Look, this is for him." We gave money to some other people in some other situations in our church and everything else, but I felt
And
like
at this
that was
point,
the
like
church
most of
we
the
were.
money was like, that was it. Like it
Yeah.
was all handed out.
Yeah,
And
besides the hat and everything else. And gave him that, and this is again one of those pivotal moments where I think I just got broken inside. We both did.
Yeah.
The associate pastor came to me and he said, "Look, I don't want to have to tell you this, but."
And you had a lot of pride. Like, you felt really, I remember you feeling like so happy to be able to give him this money. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so thankful that God gave me this money, that I can now bless you with this money.
Yeah.
Like, that was the feeling behind
Yes,
it.
exactly. And I feel like I tried to pray about, okay,
Mm-hmm.
what how much money should I give to each person and in the church, and what debt should we pay off, and
Mm-hmm.
and again, it was so great for us to pay off our own debt, but the associate pastor came to me and said, I hate to say this to you, but
And he was like hurting himself.
Hurting
to be able to
himself,
have
like,
to say,
had a
to have
hard-
to say this to you.
hard time saying it to me, but said, I gave the pastor the money, and what he told me was, did he even pray about this? And I was so messed up inside, because the money for us was never our money. Like,
Yeah.
and people say that all the time, but for us, like, I really felt like this was totally, I felt like it was a God idea, whatever it was or whatever it is. And I remember telling him, I said, does he want me to give him everything? Because I don't even care right now. Like, that's not the point of it.
Yeah.
The point was that I felt like I was doing something nice, or doing something that I felt like most people wouldn't do just for him, because I felt like I appreciated his leadership at the time. And to get that response to me, so I remember
Yeah.
telling him, what does he want?
It was so like insulting. It was so insulting, just to be like, yeah, did you even pray about what you were going to give me? Like, that's it? Like, really, that's all you're going to give me?
And at this point in my life, I would hope that I would have a conversation with that person and be like, okay, give me that money back. We are walking out of the door. We are gone. Thank you. But there's just this weird thing when spirituality is involved, and you feel like you're trying to serve God by serving this person, and then you feel like, am I really honoring God? And someone questions whether you're really seeking God. So I
Yeah,
think
that was the thing, is you were totally questioned on, like, did you even hear God?
yeah.
Did you seek God on this? So then now you're starting to question your own relationship again, once again, like, you're questioning your own relationship, and do you hear God on a daily basis because of him? But here's a big decision and a big thing that you just did, and you're being questioned on, like, did you even hear God or even pray about it? And you're like, gosh, maybe
thought
once
so.
again, I guess I don't know God as much as you do.
Yeah.
And
So I think we ended up giving another $5,000 or $10,000 or
yeah,
whatever. But
yeah,
the money was quickly gone.
very quickly, very quickly gone.
But that couch was awesome. And the refrigerator that had duct tape in it for a while because I couldn't get the right parts, because
my
it
gosh.
was, who knows where that refrigerator came from. But we were on a freaking game show.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Really awesome.
Really awesome. But that money was a huge catalyst for the next business that was started.
Yes.
That was the business that you worked at for a couple years. I don't want to say the most successful business, but I would say this one took the cake in terms of the other ones kind of fell to the wayside, and this one was like the business
This
that
was
the church ran.
business. And I think if it wasn't for the leadership, it would have been successful.
Sure, yeah.
But some of the
Like
decisions.
all of the businesses, let's be honest, they could have been a little successful had it not been for the leadership. Yeah.
And then, yeah, so that was it. But this money did really catapult the next phase of businesses, which is what we prayed for. But I look at it now and really, really think God uses everything for our, well, not for our good, because I know we already talked about that. Whatever.
Yeah,
That's
how
not
much
what I
hate
meant.
that verse.
What I meant was God can use anything, and I really believe that he used this to catapult these other businesses forward, so that it could become more and more clear how crazy the situation we were in was, so that we could get out.
Yeah.
And again, I do believe that I if I won more money than this, it would have either made the process longer,
Yeah,
or it would have made
the
it
process.
whatever It was, but the money did go to propelling more businesses and paying off debt. And I'm not smarter than a fifth grader.
The final four category of this week is top 4 guilty pleasures.
Yes.
Yes. So you can go ahead and start.
Okay. Mine is a twofold. They're both radio stations on Pandora that are guilty pleasures for different reasons. One is Hip Hop Barbecue.
That's the name of the station.
The name of the station is Hip Hop Barbecue. And I'd like to thank one of my friends for telling me about this, but it's basically all the rap and hip hop from when I was growing up. So it's like Notorious B.I.G. and Snoop Dogg and...
Nate Dogg?
No. Yeah, a little Nate Dogg, a little Wu-Tang. I mean, I'm telling you, if you want to listen to a great Pandora station, Hip Hop Barbecue is excellent.
It is pretty good.
And the second one is Tropical House.
That's the other station.
The other station. I don't think Carly's ever heard this one because it's more like you get into the office early, need to get your blood flowing, listen to a little Tropical House. I'd like to thank another friend for that one. So those are two friend suggestions that are...
Who gave you those?
None of your business.
I know who they are.
I know, but I'm not going to mention their names on air.
Why?
I just won't. But
Doesn't matter.
those are two... They're guilty pleasures, two radio stations on Pandora that I probably wouldn't like tell my good friend I was listening to, but listen to it when I need a little pick me up.
Okay, so my first one would be, wouldn't say this is as much of a guilty pleasure, mostly because being a mother, you really have to pick and choose your guilty pleasures carefully. In some ways, I feel like once you're a mom, everything's a guilty pleasure. And then in other ways, it's like you just are searching for one guilty pleasure. But I would say one of mine is like Hollywood gossip. Either whether it's people.com or I wouldn't say like watching Extra or Access Hollywood as much anymore because I feel like it's just a little dramatic and over the top. But dirty magazines.
By dirty, she means like Hollywood gossip magazines.
Yeah, People Magazine. People know what I'm talking about. Dirty. Okay,
It's
sorry.
Dirty magazines. What in the world?
In Touch, People Magazine. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Now you do.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say that's like definitely. I feel like I used to be like very much in touch with everything that was going on in Hollywood.
Yes,
And
I can attest to that.
Especially after like Golden Globes or the Oscars, me and one of my best gal pals, when we worked together, would just sit in our office, go through People Magazine best and worst dress list, talk about our favorites. Yeah, so I feel like I was always in the know about that stuff. That was definitely like a guilty pleasure. That's my
Yes.
number one, or not my number one, but that's my first
Yeah.
one.
My second one is embarrassing a little bit. Games on my phone.
But what kind of games?
I mean, I
Like
think
brain teaser stuff, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. I have like some brain teaser stuff that's like a game a day will make you smarter, and some's like Angry Birds
Oh my gosh.
or Candy Crush. Here's the thing: I have an addictive personality.
Very
so
addictive.
If I just start doing something, it's like I just have to keep doing it. There's like something inside of me that's so addictive. So yeah, I'll have one game that I play a lot for like 3 months, and then I'll just be like, dude, I have to get rid of this. It's ruining my life. And then I'll delete it, and then someone will say something about another game, and then I'll put that on my phone. And anyway, any suggestions for me, just let me know.
Oh my gosh.
But it is a guilty pleasure because it's not something you do all the time. But Like if I have a free moment or need to clear my brain, like that's a dumb way that I do it.
But you'll often do it when we're if we're like maybe watching TV and maybe you're not fully into like the show or something. I feel like you're almost doing it. You're doing it most of the time when you're also doing something else at the same time, and you're either like just trying to stimulate your brain more, or you just what I think it is, and I know that I'm right, is you have
Oh, she knows just right.
you have a very hard time just letting yourself just like sit and be.
Yes.
Whether that's watching TV or sitting and talking or whatever. So you have the need to like play a game on your phone as a guilty pleasure. But it's also a terrible habit.
Yes.
Which
So
I guess
great.
is what you
Yeah,
which
say
is
your
what a
next
pet peeve,
guilty pleasure,
or
and
I'm
I'll
sorry,
just-
not a pet peeve, but what a guilty pleasure is a bad habit.
Just say
I
your
guess.
next guilty pleasure. I'll tell you how bad of a habit it is. So.
Well, most of my things seem to circle around food around here, but I say a guilty pleasure is like anything French fry related or chips related. So think nachos, French fries, carne asada nachos. Really anything in that category of French fries or chips is a guilty pleasure.
For sure. I'd like to apologize to anyone who doesn't live in Southern California, doesn't know what carne asada is. Because I didn't know what it was growing up.
Are you kidding me?
No.
So now I've got the mesh shorts, and you didn't know what carne asada
Or
was.
sushi.
Or sushi.
Yeah.
Wow. You are lucky to be married to me.
Sure am. My third one is, I don't want to get in trouble for this, but my third one is scratch game tickets.
That is so true. This is
Someti-
for sure a
like-
number one for you.
Sometimes I don't even know what it is. Like, well, my
I
other
want to know how much money you've wasted buying scratch tickets.
my other guilty pleasure is gum. Like I chew gum all the time, and
Wait,
Carly
go back
hates
to
it.
the scratch ticket.
I know, but I'm telling you how this works together. So I like need gum, and I probably could chew a pack a day.
You do chew a pack a day then.
I love gum. I chew gum all the time. So sometimes I'll have to stop by 7-Eleven to get gum, and it's like I go up just to get gum, and it's like those tickets are just like they're just like staring at me, and sometimes I try to justify it, like maybe this is my lucky day. Maybe this is God speaking to me to get lucky number 11 or whatever it is. There's something about it that just calls to me, and I get it. I will say this: I can't remember the last time I got a scratch game ticket. So in other words,
I could
it wasn't
tell you, it was
wasn't
probably
within
a couple weeks ago.
No, it hasn't been within the past month, but I mean, that's not to say I don't get them. I get them. And then I hide them. Yeah. And then I throw them away underneath other trash so Carly doesn't see
Oh
it.
my gosh.
Oops.
How much money are you wasting on these things?
I mean, it's a guilty pleasure. It doesn't happen a lot.
Okay.
And it's not like I buy the $20 tickets or, it's like the $2 ones.
Have you ever won anything?
Yeah.
What?
The problem is the first time I got a scratch game ticket was when I was 17 and wasn't allowed to redeem it, and I won $50. So
bummer.
that set it up. But I gave it to someone else to redeem.
And they didn't give it to you?
Yeah, they gave me the $50.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of set me on a bad trajectory.
Yeah. TBD. That story's to come. My third one is really just media in general. I think Instagram is obviously most people's guilty pleasure, but I think maybe especially as a mom, it's just sometimes really nice to scroll the gram and just disengage completely.
Completely.
But I think in
Let me say
addition to...
completely.
Oh, please. You're gone all day. You don't know how much I'm on Instagram during the day.
No, I mean,
I'm
when
just
you
kidding.
do it, you're disengaged completely.
Totally.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, you immerse yourself in Instagram. It's not like
Yes.
you go down rabbit holes.
I do, yeah. Totally.
And I'm like,
it's my
what are
nosy
you
personality.
doing
It's my
right
nosy
now?
personality, yeah. And I cannot be like, I can't be rescued from it. I'm down that rabbit hole.
Yes.
I have found friends of friends of friends with situations that we can't even speak of, but It's just too good to not. I have to continue in it. So, but in addition to that, certain TV shows are like, and I'm not going to say the Kardashians. Sorry for everybody. I'm just not a Kardashian fan. But what I am a fan of is the show Botched. Botched on, is it E?
I think it's E.
Yeah. This is a guilty. So this is like my media category. So Instagram is involved in that. I also enjoy like cooking shows are like a guilty pleasure. But Botched is like, there's just something about it that is so disgusting and amazing at the same time. Like it's a perfect example of like a train wreck that you cannot look away from. And yeah, it's plastic surgeries gone bad basically, and they try and fix them. But it's incredible. We both equally enjoy that show. Wouldn't you say?
I don't know if we equally enjoy it.
You enjoy it.
I throw up in my mouth every time.
But you like it. You just have a weaker stomach than I do, but you like it just as much, I would say.
I won't say as much, but
Okay. But that's, I would say that's a guilty pleasure.
okay. My third one is it could be. My fourth one. Sorry, it could be multiple different kinds of foods because I generally try to eat decently healthy. But sugar is really hard for me to say no to.
Oh my gosh, you're the worst.
But one of them is it's a whole category, but it's like carnival foods. I don't, and two specifically, I don't know if I could say no to any kind of churro
Agreed.
or a funnel cake.
Yeah.
Churros and funnel cakes, we went to Knott's Berry Farm, I had to get the loaded funnel cake. I just had to get it. I walked by and then
You weren't even hungry.
I wasn't hungry. I just had to get it. Same thing with churros. There's something about churros that it's just amazing.
So good.
So the carnival foods for me, churros, funnel cakes, cotton candy. Oh, cotton candy. I just can't say no.
Snow cones.
Yeah.
Shaved ice.
Shaved ice. Snow cones, shaved ice are completely different.
Yeah.
Shaved ice is by far the best thing I've ever had. Real shaved ice.
And my final one, my final guilty pleasure as of now is Diet Coke. And not as much in the wintertime because it's cold, but man, as soon as those temps rise, Diet Coke is my jam. And let me tell you, look, Diet Coke it's not as simple as it sounds, okay? So there's different types of Diet Cokes. I'm not very interested in Diet Coke in the can. I am interested in a fountain Diet Coke because
This is so true.
because it's way more syrupy than the can. It's less bubbly and way more syrup and flavor. Now, in addition to it being a fountain Diet Coke, there's another factor that comes into play that's very important for a good Diet Coke, and that is the type of straw. So there are two places particularly that have incredible straws when it comes to getting Diet Coke. One of them being In-N-Out Burger, the other being McDonald's. The circumference of the straw is bigger than most. Therefore, you get more of the Diet Coke into your mouth at one time, which I appreciate. So, but not only are the straws wonderful, but they also have wonderful fountain Diet Coke. It's typically very syrupy and just the perfect ratio of carbonation and Diet Coke syrup flavor. And it's good. It's good. I mean, I won't deny or I won't refuse Diet Coke out of the can. However, I do prefer it in a fountain.
Yes.
And it's never something I actually ever order at a restaurant. I never would order at a restaurant.
No, you don't. No.
But it's more so like lunch time or middle of the day if I'm home with the kids and running errands or whatever. Like I'm gonna get that $1 large Diet Coke. And listen, I don't need anybody telling me about how bad Diet Coke is because I'm fully aware of it. I know how bad it is. I know the aspartame. I know all of these things, okay? So you can go ahead and keep your mouth shut and not tell me about how bad it is because I'm not interested in hearing it. This is a guilty pleasure segment, so just mind your own business. This is not something I'm willing to give up. It's not something I have on a regular basis. So we don't need an intervention. We don't need to talk about it. But I'm just telling you where the best Diet Coke can be found. I am a little bit bummed out about the fact that it seems to be that they no longer make the Diet Coke with lime in the can. It seems to be the Diet Coke with ginger lime, this new thing that they're doing. I mean, it's not that new, but which is fine. I'm okay. I'm about it. But the Diet Coke with lime was a great thing to have out of the can in the summertime. So Ben's looking at me like I'm just absolutely crazy to have so many opinions about Diet Coke. But
do you really think I'm looking at her like she's crazy? This is life. It's great life.
This is why you love me.
It is true.
Very particular.
Yes.
I'm sure there will be a part 2 segment on the pet peeves because we've come up with a couple others that we forgot about. But
in other words, Carly's come up with 20.
The list is endless. No, it's not that I have a lot of pet peeves. It's just that I'm particular and I like things a certain way.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I'm not adaptable or
yeah.
like unpleasant to be around.
I agree.
Okay, good. I'm just clarifying that. So my final, yes, Diet Coke's the final one. I think I've said everything there could be said about it. But yes, that is it for this week's episode. Thanks for hanging in with us, and we will see you all next week. Thanks for joining us on Bizography. Please subscribe or leave a comment. And if you have questions or want to open up a discussion, you can find us on Instagram or Facebook at Bizography. See you next time.